Have you ever really stopped to think about the air you breathe?
Hmm.
I mean, not just that you need it, obviously, but like thinking of it as this whole invisible ocean you're swimming in all the time.
Hmm.
Today, we're diving deep into some really fascinating source material. It makes this comparison kind of surprising, actually. It might just change how you see, well, everything around you.
Indeed. It's quite a perspective, isn't it? Drawing these parallels between us and, well, fish.
Fish, right.
Yeah, and the environments that sustain us, these vital spaces we often just, don't even notice. The sources really push us to think beyond just physical survival.
Hmm.
It's about this deep connection, they suggest, between our physical world and maybe our spiritual state, too, where the tangible and the intangible kind of meet.
So our mission today is basically to unpack all that. We'll look at the science bits, the spiritual claims our sources make,
Right.
and how this one ancient text seems to nail concepts that, modern science only figured out much, much later.
Hmm.
Get ready for some moments, I think.
That
Okay, so let's start with that core idea, the main analogy. You, me, everyone listening. We're like fish. How does that work?
Well, think about a fish, right? It's in the ocean, water everywhere, above, below, all around. It lives
Mm.
its whole life in it, totally dependent on it. But is the fish aware of the water in the way we think about awareness? Probably not. It just is.
It's just normal for the fish.
Exactly. And the sources propose that we're, well, very similar. We're immersed in this huge invisible ocean, the atmosphere. Air is all around us, pressing in.
You mentioned pressure. How much pressure are we talking about?
Ah, yes, the pressure. It's actually staggering when you think about it. The atmosphere exerts a force roughly equivalent to about 1 kilogram on every single square centimeter of your skin.
1 kilo per square
Yeah,
centimeter.
no, to scale that up to your whole body, you're looking at a total weight pressing down on you.
Well, it's equivalent to several tons.
Several tons. Okay, wait, why aren't we just, squashed? That's the amazing part. We're not crushed because our bodies are perfectly designed for it. We have an internal pressure that pushes outward, exactly balancing the air pressure pushing inward.
Oh, okay. Like an equilibrium.
Precisely. A stable, balanced state. And that unseen aspect is crucial here. Water is life for the fish. Air is life for us.
Right.
But neither the fish really perceives the water, nor do we truly perceive the air moment to moment. We both just exist inside this precisely controlled environment. It's so fundamental, our senses just filter it out mostly.
Okay. That makes sense. But the sources take this further, right?
Yeah.
Into something more profound.
They do. They pose this question: what happens if the fish leaves the water?
Well, it suffocates. It dies pretty quickly.
Right. And what happens if we leave our atmosphere? If we go high up, way beyond the breathable air?
We'd suffocate too, wouldn't we? Gradually lose oxygen.
Exactly. You'd gradually suffocate until your body just couldn't breathe anymore. And the source is stress. This
Hmm.
isn't some nice little metaphor. No, it's described as an astonishing physical reality. A reality that high-altitude climbers and astronauts know all too well now.
Okay.
And here's the kicker, according to our sources. This specific reality, this feeling of constriction and suffocation as you go higher and higher, was apparently mentioned in the Quran.
Centuries ago, before anyone knew about space or high altitudes like we do now.
Centuries ago, long before balloons, planes, any of that, the sources point to Surat al-An'am, verse 125.
What does it say?
It says, "And whoever he wills to leave astray, he makes his breast constricted and difficult, as if he were climbing into the sky."
Climbing into the sky, constricted and difficult. Wow.
And the sources really emphasize the Arabic word used there, yayad. It's apparently not just climbing.
What does it mean specifically?
It carries the meaning of ascending with great effort, increasing difficulty, getting progressively short of breath, like a tightening in the chest, building up towards suffocation.
So it's describing the feeling, the physiological process, not just going up.
That's exactly how the sources present it, and they draw a direct line from that ancient description to what modern medicine calls hypoxia.
Hypoxia, right? Lack of oxygen at altitude.
Precisely. The decreasing oxygen causes confusion, fatigue, that physical chest tightness, and eventually, loss of consciousness and worse. Early pilots, mountaineers, they felt exactly this.
Mm-hmm.
So the sources see this as this incredible link, ancient texts describing a complex physiological process only understood scientifically much later.
That is, yeah, that's pretty remarkable. It makes you think about the atmosphere itself differently too, not just air, but this whole engineered system.
Absolutely. Our sources describe it as a balanced cosmic shield. It's not just empty space with some oxygen thrown in.
It's got layers, right? And specific gases?
Exactly. The composition is incredibly precise, about 21% oxygen, roughly 78% nitrogen, plus trace gases, and that balance is critical.
Why nitrogen? What does that do?
Well, nitrogen acts kind of like a buffer, a diluent. It regulates how reactive the oxygen is. If
Hmm.
we had significantly more oxygen,
Things would just burst into flame.
pretty much, the world would be incredibly flammable, too little oxygen, and we couldn't breathe properly. It's this fine-tuning.
And it protects us too, doesn't it, from like radiation and meteors?
Oh, absolutely. It shields us from harmful UV rays. It burns up most incoming space debris. It acts like a blanket to keep temperature stable. It's a multifunctional protection system.
Okay, so the air itself, the pressure, the composition, the protective layers,
Yeah,
it all has to be just right.
just right. The sources argue that even tiny changes, a bit more oxygen, slightly different pressure could make life impossible. Taking a single breath might be fatal or just impossible.
It really does sound like, well, like intentional design rather than just random chance.
That's the argument presented, yes, that this level of intricate balance, this self-regulating system, points towards a creator who measured everything with incredible precision.
And this leads to the difference between us and the fish, you were saying.
Right. The sources highlight this essential difference. Both humans and fish are perfectly adapted to their environments. But we humans were given something extra: intellect.
The ability to think about it, to understand.
Exactly. The capacity to ponder this, to perceive the blessing, to recognize the design. The fish just lives by instinct within its ocean.
That doesn't reflect on the water.
Presumably not. But we can reflect on the air, on the atmosphere, on this whole system supporting us. That capacity for reflection, for appreciation, is presented as a uniquely human gift.
Okay, so we understand the physical side, the atmosphere, the pressure, the hypoxia connection.
Yeah.
How does this link to the spiritual aspect you mentioned earlier?
This is where the analogy becomes really powerful.
Right.
The sources draw this direct parallel. Leaving the physical atmosphere causes that deadly physical constriction, right?
Yeah, the suffocation.
Well, they argue that leaving divine guidance, what they term hidayah, causes a similar but spiritual constriction, a deadly spiritual suffocation.
Ah, so it's mirroring the physical effect on an inner level.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And remember the Quranic verse, Surat al-An'am 125. It has two parts. We discussed the first part about constriction when climbing to the sky. The verse immediately continues with the opposite. And whoever God wills to guide, he expands his breast to Islam.
Oh, wow. So constriction from going astray, expansion from guidance in the same verse.
Exactly. It sets up this incredible contrast. Physical constriction is linked to moving away from the physical life source. Spiritual constriction is linked to moving away from the spiritual life source.
So someone distancing themselves from their creator, it's like they're spiritually suffocating. That feeling of emptiness or searching.
That's the idea, that inner tightness, that feeling that something vital is missing. The sources put it poetically: no air for the heart except through faith, no life for the soul except through the remembrance of God.
It makes that spiritual struggle feel very physical almost.
Yeah.
Relatable.
It does. It uses the tangible experience of chest tightness, of struggling for breath, as a sign, a symbol for the intangible experience of spiritual distress when disconnected from guidance.
So the physical reality illuminates the spiritual one.
Perfectly put. It takes something abstract and grounds it in a shared human physiological response. Our sources really highlight how this single verse manages to bridge scientific observation and profound spiritual truth. They say it suffices for volumes.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for someone listening? You're like a fish, I'm like a fish. We live in these environments. What now?
Well, the connection is that both you and the fish are created for these specific, finely balanced environments. A divine equilibrium holds it all together.
Right.
But our freedom, our sources suggest, isn't about escaping these environments. It's about realizing how dependent we are on them, these huge, often invisible blessings, and understanding the guidance that helps us navigate them both physically and spiritually.
So appreciating the air we breathe, but also the air of faith or guidance.
Exactly. The analogy holds. Just as the fish dies outside the sea, the sources argue, a person kind of perishes spiritually if they abandon that air of faith. It really connects science and faith, using that physical constriction as a powerful sign for the spiritual kind. It paints a picture of moving from darkness and ignorance into light and guidance.
From that tightness in the chest to a feeling of spaciousness.
Yes, from the narrowness of the chest to the spaciousness of Islam, as the sources phrase it. It's an invitation to breathe freely in every sense.
Which leaves us with a final thought maybe for you, the listener, to ponder. Thinking about this,
Hmm.
how many other invisible oceans are you living in right now?
Good question.
Things you rely on totally, but maybe take completely for granted. Could be physical things, social connections, maybe those deeper spiritual currents, things that are essential for your well-being.
Yeah.
And what would it really mean day to day to actually start seeing them,
Mm.
perceiving them, and truly appreciating them? Something to think about on your own deep dive.